During our Farm Basics time today, we're going to talk about a commonly asked question we get from non-farmers, and that is, what's the difference between banding and broadcasting fertilizer? We hear you guys talking about this stuff, but why would a person want to band, and what is banding compared to broadcasting?
Well, there are a lot of terms that get used in farming, and these two terms are used primarily around fertilizer, but also on some other things like herbicide or weed control.
Or insecticide.
So when we're talking about, let's just talk about the fertilizer side first. This is plant food that we're putting out there for plants. Now, in many row crop fields where we're planting things like corn and soybeans and cotton, row spacings may vary, but a lot of times you're going to see maybe 30 inches in between the rows. So you have a corn plant, and then 30 inches away you've got the next corn plant. So when you say broadcasting, that means spreading the same amount of plant food on every square inch of the whole field. When you're looking at banding, that means just placing it in a certain spot. Now, the band may be just 1 inch wide, it may be several inches wide, but the idea behind that farmers have is, hey, if I only have a plant every 30 inches, how about I just put my food every 30 inches? That way the plants don't have to go very far to get it.
Well, what I look at is insecticide. Most of the insecticide that's put out at planting time by corn farmers in the United States, it's not broadcast. It's banded, and the reason why is because all we really care about is killing insects that are going to attack the corn plants. I don't care about insects that are in between the rows. I don't care about insects that are out there just randomly in nature. I just care about the ones that are near, especially my corn seed, my seedling, and my roots. So if I just put insecticide there, that's a much more environmentally friendly way to do it, and it's also a more effective way to protect those plants and have a good concentration or a lethal dose of that insecticide near the plant.
All right, let's talk about this banding concept just a little bit more. When we're thinking about banding, they could be on the surface, so you just spread it right on top of the ground, or it could be below surface. Many farmers are looking at it like, hey, I don't want to put my fertilizer on top of the ground because if we get a big rain, it could wash away. The other thing is, if it gets really dry in the summer, I'm going to be in trouble because all my fertilizer's up top, I don't have any roots to get that, and I don't have any rain to move that fertilizer down into my root system. So what farmers are doing is trying different types of bands. Now, it may be a band right in the furrow. That's the trench that you open up to drop the seed in. So it could be laying right next to the seed at planting time. Or it could be a couple inches over and a couple inches down below the seed. That way you've got a little bit of soil in between the plant food and the seed. And when plants are really young and that root system is very small, having a huge concentration of plant food around it can be a little bit hot for the plant. So having a little bit of distance there can be a good thing. Or one thing that we're doing on our farm is we're actually deep banding. So we're dropping our plant food down 6 or 8 inches deep in the soil and then planting right over the top of it. Now our root system, when it starts to grow, the roots are out exploring through the soil trying to find plant food. And if they happen to be able to grow straight down to find that plant food, that's where they want to go. They don't want to have to grow big and wide. They want to go straight down and find fertilizer and grow maybe down at a 30-degree angle. Well, this works great for the plants. So farmers are seeing good results, both economically, environmentally, and certainly agronomically when we look at how much yield they're getting off those acres from a smaller amount of fertilizer.
So in summary, what we're talking about here is broadcasting versus banding. Broadcasting is spreading anything. I don't care if it's herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer. It's spreading it out over all the ground, whereas banding is putting that fertilizer, herbicide, insecticide, whatever, in strips. Might be near the row, might be below the row, might be in between the row, but still, whatever we're placing it in strips.
With our Weed of the Week, you're definitely going to be broadcasting a herbicide out there to try and stop it, because otherwise it can just take over. Can you identify this week's weed?